"You're fired, Turner." Michael's hands froze mid-wrench. Behind him, his 7-year-old daughter, Emily, stood in the garage doorway, her backpack dragging on the oil-stained floor. She'd just gotten off the school bus. She'd just heard everything. And across town in a office tower, Michael couldn't even imagine the woman he'd helped 3 days ago was about to make a phone call that would flip his entire world upside down. But right now, all he could think was, how do I tell my little girl, we just lost everything, Daddy, that lady's going to freeze. We can't. But you always say, I know what I say. Michael's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. The fuel gauge read empty, actually past empty. They were running on fumes and prayers. The heater had died somewhere around mile marker 32, and his fingers were numb. He was 23 minutes late for work. Frank had already called twice. The second time, he hadn't left a message. That was never good. "Daddy, please?" The Bentley sat crooked on the shoulder hazards, blinking. Michael could see someone moving inside. He thought about Rachel, about what she would say, about the promise he'd made at her funeral. Always help people, Mike, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. He pulled over. Stay in the car. But, Emily, car, now. His boots hit the snow and immediately soaked through. Cheap boots, Walmart clearance. He grabbed his tool bag from the trunk and prayed the Honda would start again when this was over. The woman climbed out of the Bentley like she'd never been cold a day in her life. Then Michael saw her face, pale, scared, real. "Thank God, I've been here 40 minutes. My phone died and nobody stopped and I don't know what's wrong and—" "Pop the hood." "What?" "Your hood. Pop it." She fumbled with the latch. Michael lifted the hood, and there it was. Serpentine belt snapped clean through. "How bad is it?" "You need a new belt." "Can you fix it?" "I can get you to town. After that, you need a real shop." "You're not a real mechanic." Michael looked at her. "Lady, I'm the realest mechanic you'll ever meet. I just don't have a Bentley dealership in my back pocket right now." She laughed, surprised. "I'm Susan." "Michael, that's Emily in my car. Don't mind her, she's nosy." "I heard that." Emily's voice came muffled through the Honda's window. "You were supposed to," Michael yelled back. Susan smiled, genuine this time. "Can she sit in my car while you work? It's warmer." "You don't have to. I insist." Emily was already out of the Honda and climbing into the Bentley before Michael could argue. Through the windshield, he watched his daughter's face light up. Heated seats. Probably the first time in her life she'd been truly warm in winter. His phone buzzed. Frank, again. Michael declined the call and got to work. His fingers were so numb he could barely feel the zip ties. The wind cut through his jacket like it wasn't even there. $40 jacket. Same clearance rack as the boots. Behind him he could hear Emily chattering away inside the Bentley. And then Mommy got really sick and she couldn't get better and Daddy says she's in heaven now, but sometimes I think heaven is just what grown-ups say when they don't want to talk about sad things. Michael's chest tightened. He yanked the zip tie harder than he meant to. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart." Susan's voice soft through the glass. "That must be very hard. It's okay. Daddy says we have each other and that's enough. Do you have kids?" "No." "Why not?" "Emily," Michael called out. "What did I say about personal questions?" "You said don't ask them. So why are you asking them?" Silence. Then Susan's voice. "It's okay. The truth is, I never found the right person." "Oh, that's sad." "Yeah, it kind of is." Michael finished the belt, makeshift, temporary. Would get her maybe 20 miles if she was lucky. He slammed the hood. "Try it." The Bentley roared to life. Emily clapped her hands. Susan stared at him through the windshield like he'd just performed a miracle. She got out, leaving the car running. "What do I owe you?" "Nothing." "I can't." "Sure you can. Get to a real shop before this fails. You've got maybe 20 miles. At least let me give you something." "Lady, I just lost 25 minutes I don't have. The best thing you can give me is to get yourself somewhere safe so I don't worry about you later." Susan stared at him. Then she pulled out a business card. Heavy stock, embossed, pushed it into his hand. just in case. Michael glanced down. Susan Wright, CEO, Orion Motors. His brain short-circuited. You're kidding. Nope. Orion Motors, the Orion Motors. Is there another one? Emily tumbled out of the Bentley. Daddy, Miss Susan's office is so tall you can see clouds. That's great, baby. Car, now. After they pulled away, Emily wouldn't stop talking. The heated seats, the real wood dashboard, how Miss Susan smelled like flowers. Michael made it to work 41 minutes late. Frank was waiting by the time clock, arms crossed, face like stone. My office, now. Michael followed him past the other mechanics. Nobody met his eyes. That was bad. That was really bad. Frank closed the door. Sit. Frank, I can explain. I don't want explanations, Turner. I want reliability. You've been late 6 times this month. My daughter. Your daughter isn't my problem. Your job performance is, and right now your job performance sucks. It won't happen again. You're right. It won't. Frank leaned back in his chair. You're fired. The words hung in the air like something physical, something Michael could reach out and touch. Frank, please, I need this job. You should have thought about that before you decided showing up on time was optional. I've worked here 7 years, and for 7 years I've cut you slack. Your wife got sick, I cut you slack. She died, I cut you slack. You're raising a kid alone, I cut you slack. But slack has limits, Michael, and you just hit yours. Give me one more chance. I've given you 6 this month. Get your tools and get out. Michael stood up. His legs felt disconnected from his body. When? Now. Frank. Now, Turner, before I call someone to escort you out. Michael walked back onto the garage floor in a daze. The other mechanics still wouldn't look at him, Sumasa. He packed his tools in silence. 7 years in a cardboard box. 7 years in 15 minutes. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello. Mr. Turner, this is Jennifer Chen from Orion Motors. I'm calling to schedule an interview for our operations manager position. Michael stopped walking. I'm sorry, what? You were personally recommended by our CEO, Susan Wright. Are you available tomorrow at 2 p.m.? There's been a mistake. No mistake, Mr. Turner. Ms. Wright was very specific. The position is Operations Manager Manufacturing Division. Base salary $127,000 annually. Full benefits, relocation assistance if needed. Michael's cardboard box slipped from his hands. Tools clattered across the concrete. Mr. Turner, are you there? I'm a mechanic. I fix cars. I don't have a degree. I don't have management experience. I just got fired from a garage that pays $38,000 a year. Ms. Wright is aware of your background. She believes your practical experience and character make you uniquely qualified. So tomorrow at 2 p.m. Michael looked around the garage, at Frank in his office already on the phone with someone else, at 7 years walking out the door, at his future which 5 minutes ago had been nothing but bills he couldn't pay and a daughter he couldn't provide for. Yes, I'll be there. He hung up, picked up his tools, walked out to the parking lot where Emily was waiting in the Honda, doing homework on the dashboard. All done, Daddy. Yeah, baby, all done. Can we get McDonald's? Not today. Tomorrow, maybe. She went back to her math. Michael sat in the driver's seat and stared at the business card, still in his hand. Susan Wright, CEO. The woman he'd helped. The woman whose daughter had said was lonely. The woman who'd just thrown him a lifeline or a noose. He wasn't sure which, yet. That night, Emily wanted spaghetti. They were out of sauce. Michael made butter and garlic salt and called it fancy. Emily bought it because she always bought it, because she was 7 and she trusted him. And she didn't know they were 3 weeks behind on rent. Daddy, what's wrong? Nothing, sweetheart. You keep looking at that card. Just thinking. About what? About tomorrow. What's tomorrow? I have a job interview. Emily's face lit up. A new job with Miss Susan. Maybe it's complicated. How is it complicated? She's nice. You're nice. You'd work together and be nice people together. It's not that simple, Em. Why not? Because rich people don't just hand out six-figure jobs to mechanics they met on the side of the road. Because there has to be a catch. Because things like this don't happen to people like us. Eat your spaghetti. At midnight, Michael was still awake, staring at the ceiling, doing math in his head. 127,000. After taxes, maybe 90,000. Divide by 12, 7,500 a month. Their rent was 900. After rent, 6,600. After utilities, 6,000. After food, 5,000. After everything else, maybe 4,000 left over. $4,000 a month. More than he made in 3 months now, was making. Past tense. He didn't have a job anymore. His phone rang. 12:47 a.m. Unknown number. Hello, Mr. Turner. This is Margaret from County General Hospital. Your daughter Emily was brought in by ambulance. Michael was out of bed before she finished the sentence. No, not Emily. Not her. Please God, not her. He made it to the hospital in 11 minutes, ran 3 red lights, didn't care. The nurse at the desk pointed him to pediatrics. Room 304. Emily was sitting up in bed, looking small and pale, but alive. Alive. The relief hit him so hard he nearly collapsed. Daddy. What happened? I'm okay. I just got really hot, and then I got really cold, and Mrs. Chen heard me crying, and she called 911. Mrs. Chen was their neighbor, 73, babysat Emily when Michael worked late, except he didn't work late anymore because he didn't work at all. The doctor came in, young, tired, sympathetic. Mr. Turner, I'm Dr. Patel. Emily's going to be fine. She spiked a fever, hit 104, but we've got it under control now. Looks like a bad case of flu. Can I take her home? I want to keep her overnight for observation. Make sure the fever doesn't come back. How much is that going to cost? Dr. Patel hesitated. Do you have insurance? I did, until about 8 hours ago. I see. Well, let's focus on getting Emily healthy first. We can work out the billing later. Translation: it was going to cost a fortune. Michael sat down in the chair beside Emily's bed, took her hand. She squeezed back her fingers, small and hot. I'm sorry, Daddy. For what? For getting sick. I know we can't afford it. Hey, you don't apologize for being sick. You hear me? Never. But no buts. You're my whole world, Em. Everything else is just details. She fell asleep around 2 a.m. Michael stayed awake watching her breathe, doing more math. Hospital bill probably 5,000. Minimum, plus medication, plus the ambulance, plus everything else. And now he had a job interview tomorrow for a position that could change everything, if he didn't screw it up. At 6 a.m., Emily woke up, fever down, color better. Dr. Patel discharged them at 8. Michael drove home, got Emily settled with Mrs. Chen, then sat in his bathroom staring at his only suit, the one from Rachel's funeral, mothballs and memories. He put it on. The Orion Motors building rose up out of the city like something from a different planet. Michael parked his Honda between a Tesla and an Audi and felt like an imposter. His suit smelled like death, and his daughter was sick, and he had maybe $300 in his checking account, and this was insane. He went inside anyway. Security sent him to the 47th floor. The elevator was glass. He could see the whole city dropping away beneath him. Emily would love this. If he got the job, maybe he could bring her here, show her that sometimes impossible things happen. The doors opened. Susan was waiting, not at a desk, not in an office. Just standing there in the hallway like she'd been watching the elevator numbers tick up. Michael, you came. I almost didn't. What changed your mind? My daughter spent last night in the hospital with a 104-degree fever, and I don't have insurance anymore, and I'm about to lose our apartment, and honestly, I've got nothing left to lose. Susan's face shifted. Is she okay? She will be. The insurance. I got fired yesterday, about 2 minutes before your recruiter called, actually. Timing's funny like that. I'm sorry. Don't be. That garage was killing me anyway. Just slowly. Susan gestured down the hallway. Come on, let's talk. They walked past offices with glass walls and people in expensive clothes. Michael felt every eye on him, the guy in the funeral suit, the guy who didn't belong. Susan led him into a conference room. Big table, big windows, big everything. She sat down across from him, not at the head of the table, across, equal. Let me tell you what I saw on Route 47, she said. I saw a man who was late for work, probably broke, definitely stressed, who still stopped to help a stranger. A man who worked in the freezing cold with numb fingers and didn't ask for a penny. A man whose daughter is so kind and joyful that she spent 20 minutes teaching me how to count in Spanish because she thought I might need it someday. She's something else. She's amazing, and she's amazing because of you. No, she's amazing because of her mother. I'm just trying not to screw it up. You're not screwing it up. You should have seen the hospital bill coming. Susan smiled, sad. Money can't solve everything, Michael. I know that better than anyone. It can solve a lot, though. True. She leaned forward. Here's the thing. I run a billion-dollar company. I have 6,000 employees. I make decisions every day that affect thousands of lives. And you want to know what I learned in 20 years of doing this? Most problems aren't complicated. They're just dressed up to look complicated. Strip away the jargon and the PowerPoints and the consultant reports, and it all comes down to one question: what's actually broken and how do we fix it? Okay, you've been answering that question your entire adult life. Every engine you've ever diagnosed, every repair you've ever made. You see a problem, you identify the cause, you fix it. That's all management is. Just on a bigger scale. Running a manufacturing division isn't the same as fixing a water pump, isn't it? A manufacturing line is just a really big engine. Parts go in one end, product comes out the other. When it breaks, you diagnose and repair. You've been doing that for 15 years. With cars, with systems, it's all systems, Michael. Cars, factories, companies, same principles, different scale. The door opened. A man walked in, 50-something, expensive suit, face like he just bit into a lemon. This is Gregory Chen, VP of Manufacturing, Susan said. Gregory, this is Michael Turner. Gregory didn't offer his hand. You're the mechanic. Yep. No degree. Nope. No management experience. Not unless you count managing to keep a 7-year-old alive and happy for 2 years on $38,000 a year. Gregory's eyebrow went up. First crack in the ice. Susan says you're good at problem solving. I'm good at fixing things that are broken. All right, let's see. Gregory pulled out a folder. Line 3 in our Louisville plant. Production down 37% over 6 months. Quality defects up 62%. Employee turnover at 45% annually. Costs are through the roof. Morale's in the toilet. Corporates talking about shutting it down. You've got 2 minutes. Tell me what's wrong. Michael blinked. I need to see the line. You can't see the line. You're in an interview. Talk it through. I can't diagnose something I can't see. That's not how this works. That's exactly how it works. Michael leaned forward. You ever try to fix a car over the phone? Customer calls, says their car's making a weird noise. You gonna diagnose that without hearing it, without looking under the hood, without talking to the person who drives it every day. Gregory's face hardened. This is a multi-million-dollar manufacturing facility, not a Honda Civic. Same principle. Production's down, defects are up, people are leaving. That's not one problem. That's 3 problems that probably all trace back to one root cause, which is, can't tell you without seeing it. But I'd bet money it's either equipment that's breaking down faster than maintenance can fix it, or people who aren't trained properly, or both. And if it's both, then management's probably stretched too thin and they're just putting out fires instead of solving problems. Gregory glanced at Susan. Something passed between them. Line 3 has 6-month-old equipment, Gregory said. State of the art. Cost us $40 million. Then it's people. New equipment means new processes. Did you retrain everyone? We brought in consultants, 3-day workshop. Michael actually laughed. You brought in consultants who've never worked a line in their lives, had them talk at your people for 3 days about theory, then expected them to run $40 million of equipment they'd never touched before. The consultants came highly recommended. I don't care if they came from Harvard. You can't learn to run a line from a PowerPoint. You gotta get your hands dirty. You gotta break things and fix them and break them again. 3 days isn't training. 3 days is hazing. Gregory's jaw tightened. So what would you do? Shut down line 3 for 2 weeks. Full stop. Pull every operator off the floor and put them through real training. Hands-on, supervised, repetitive. Make them break the equipment on purpose so they learn how to fix it. Bring in your best people from other plants to teach them. And while you're doing that, audit your maintenance schedule, because I guarantee your equipment's breaking down because nobody knows how to maintain it properly yet. That would cost us 2 weeks of production. You're already down 37%. You're already losing money. 2 weeks of downtime to fix it permanently is cheaper than 6 more months of bleeding out slowly. Silence. Gregory looked at Susan. Susan looked at Michael. When can you start? She asked. Michael's brain stalled out. Wait, what? You're hired. Pending background check, drug test, normal HR stuff. But you're hired. Just like that. Just like that. Gregory stood up, offered his hand this time. Welcome to Orion Motors, Mr. Turner. Don't make me regret this. Michael shook it. I'll do my best not to. After Gregory left, Susan walked Michael to the elevator. Can I ask you something? Michael said. Anything. Why? Why what? Why me? Really? You could hire anyone, someone with credentials, someone who fits. Susan smiled. You want the truth? Yeah. I'm lonely, Michael. Profoundly, desperately lonely. I have everything and I have nothing. Every person in my life wants something from me. Every conversation is calculated. Every friendship has an agenda. But you on that roadside, you wanted nothing. You just saw someone who needed help and you helped. Do you know how rare that is? Not that rare. People help people all the time. No, they really don't. And I thought if I can bring even a fraction of that into this company, into my life, maybe things would feel different. The elevator dinged. Michael stepped inside. Your daughter was right, Susan said. I am sad and I am lonely, but meeting you gave me something I haven't had in years. What's that? Hope. The doors closed. Michael descended 47 floors in silence. When he got to the parking lot, he sat in his Honda and stared at nothing. Then he called Mrs. Chen. How's Emily? Sleeping. Fever's gone. She's asking for you. Tell her Daddy's coming home and tell her everything's going to be okay now. Did you get it? Yeah, Mrs. Chen, I got it. He hung up and started crying. Big, ugly, grateful sobs. 2 years of holding it together. 2 years of pretending he wasn't drowning. 2 years of being strong for Emily. And finally a break. His phone buzzed. Text message, Susan's number. HR will send formal offer tomorrow, but I wanted you to know, line 3's all yours. Fix it. I believe you can. Michael texted back, thank you for everything. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Thank you for stopping. Most people wouldn't have. Michael sat in his car for another 20 minutes. Then he drove to the hospital, walked straight to billing and asked how much he owed for Emily's emergency room visit. $4, $8.47, Mr. Turner. Can I make payments? Of course, we can set up a plan. No, I mean, I'll pay it now, but I don't get paid until next month. Can I come back in 3 weeks? The billing clerk looked at him funny. Sir, we can wait 3 weeks. Good, because in 3 weeks, I'm paying this off in full. He went home. Emily was awake eating crackers in front of the TV. When she saw him, she jumped up. Daddy, I feel better. He scooped her up, held her tight, breathed in her kid shampoo smell. Guess what, baby? What? Daddy got the job. The one with Miss Susan. Yeah, the one with Miss Susan. Does that mean we can get McDonald's? Michael laughed. Yeah, we can get McDonald's. Tomorrow, tonight, right now, whatever you want. They got in the Honda, drove to McDonald's. It's Emily ordered a Happy Meal and ate every bite. Her fever finally broken, her smile finally back. Michael watched her and thought about second chances, about kindness, about a woman in a broken-down Bentley who'd seen something in him he didn't know was there. His phone buzzed again. Another text, but this one made his blood run cold. Unknown number, we know where you live. We know about the job. Walk away from Orion Motors or your daughter pays the price. This isn't a joke. Michael's hands started shaking. Emily looked up from her French fries. Daddy, what's wrong? He forced a smile. Nothing, baby. Everything's fine. But everything wasn't fine. Everything had just gotten very, very complicated. Michael stared at the text until the words blurred. Emily was still eating her fries, humming some song from school, completely unaware that someone had just threatened her life. His first instinct was to grab her and run, pack what they could carry, and disappear. But run where, with what money, and for how long? He deleted the message, hands shaking so badly he almost dropped the phone. Daddy, you're not eating. Not hungry, baby. You always say we can't waste food. You're right. I'll eat at home. The drive back to their apartment took forever. Michael checked the rearview mirror every 30 seconds, looking for what he didn't know. A car following them. Someone watching. The whole city suddenly felt dangerous. Mrs. Chen was waiting on their front steps when they pulled up. Mr. Turner, thank goodness. A man was here looking for you. Michael's blood went cold. What man? I don't know, 40-something, nice suit. Said he was from your new job, wanted to confirm your address for HR paperwork. What did you tell him? Nothing. I don't give out information about my neighbors. I told him to call you directly. Good, that's good. Thank you, Mrs. Chen. Inside, Michael locked every window, checked every lock twice, put a chair under this doorknob like that would actually stop anyone. Emily watched him from the couch, her eyes getting wider. Daddy, you're scaring me. Sorry, baby, just being careful. Careful about what? Nothing. Go brush your teeth. After Emily fell asleep, Michael sat in the dark living room with his phone. He should call the police, report the threat, but report what? A text from an unknown number. They'd take a statement and do nothing. He had no proof, no evidence, nothing but words on a screen he'd already deleted. He pulled up Susan's number, typed out a message, deleted it, typed another one, deleted that too. Finally, at 1 a.m., he just called her. She answered on the second ring. Michael, is everything okay? No, I need to ask you something and I need you to be straight with me. Of course. Is there anyone at Orion Motors who wouldn't want me to take this job? Silence. Long enough that Michael thought the call had dropped. Susan, why are you asking me that? Because someone sent me a threatening text tonight. Told me to walk away from the job or my daughter would pay for it. What? Her voice went sharp. When? 2 hours ago. Unknown number. I deleted it like an idiot, but it said they know where I live, and they know about Emily. Michael, listen to me very carefully. Do not go to work tomorrow. Take Emily somewhere safe. A friend's house, a hotel, anywhere but your apartment. I can't afford a hotel. I'll pay for it. I'll send a car right now. Susan, stop. What's going on? Why would someone threaten me over a job? She was quiet again. When she spoke, her voice was different, careful. There are people at Orion who weren't happy about my decision to hire you. People who thought the position should go to someone internal, someone with connections. Who? Tom Wessler, VP of Operations. He's been with the company 22 years. He recommended his son-in-law for the position. When I chose you instead, he was furious. Furious enough to threaten a 7-year-old. Tom's a bully, always has been, but threatening a child, that's not his style. Then who? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. In the meantime, please just stay somewhere else tonight. Michael looked at Emily's closed bedroom door. I can't run every time someone sends a text. If I do that, I'm running forever. This isn't about pride. It's not about pride. It's about teaching my daughter that we don't let fear make our decisions. Michael, I'll be at work tomorrow. If someone has a problem with that, they can say it to my face." He hung up before she could argue. The next morning, Michael dropped Emily off at school early, talked to the principal about updating the pickup authorization list. Only he and Mrs. Chen were allowed to get Emily. Nobody else, not even if they had a good story. The principal looked concerned. "Mr. Turner, is everything all right? Just being cautious. Can you make sure Emily doesn't leave school grounds at all today? Not even for recess. We can keep her inside if you'd like. Please." At 8 a.m., Michael walked into Orion Motors for his first official day. Security gave him a badge, temporary, red instead of blue like everyone else's. The elevator ride to the 47th floor felt longer than yesterday. Susan was waiting. "You came. I said I would. We need to talk. After. Right now I need to meet my team." She studied his face. "You're sure about this?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway." Gregory Chen met them in the operations wing. The space was open concept, all glass and white boards, and people in business casual. Michael felt every eye on him as they walked through. The new guy, the mechanic, the one who didn't belong. Gregory stopped at a conference room. Inside, 6 people sat around a table. 5 men, 1 woman, all of them older than Michael. All of them looking at him like he was a stain on their resume. "Everyone, this is Michael Turner, our new operations manager. Michael, this is your team." Nobody stood up. Nobody offered their hands. The woman spoke first. "I'm Linda Chen, process engineering, no relation to Gregory." "Nice to meet you." "We'll see about that." One of the men leaned back in his chair. "Tom Wessler, VP of Operations, which technically makes me your boss." Tom was 50-something, expensive suit, wedding ring that probably cost more than Michael's car. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Good to meet you, sir." "Sir, I like that. At least someone taught you manners." Tom glanced at the others. "Michael here doesn't have a college degree, doesn't have any corporate experience. He's a mechanic. But Susan thinks that qualifies him to run a multi-million-dollar operation, so here we are." "Tom," Gregory said quietly, "what I'm just stating, facts. Michael deserves to know what he's walking into, right? This isn't some garage where you can wing it. This is precision manufacturing. Lives are on the line, reputations, money, one mistake, and people die." Michael held Tom's gaze. "Good thing I don't make mistakes then." "Everyone makes mistakes. Not with cars I work on, because when I make a mistake with a car, people die, so I learned real early not to make them." Tom's smile tightened. "We'll see how long that confidence lasts." The meeting lasted 2 hours. Tom spent most of it explaining everything Michael already understood, but in the most condescending way possible. Talking slowly, using simple words, checking after every point to make sure Michael was following along. The others just watched. Nobody jumped to Michael's defense. Nobody challenged Tom. They just sat there, letting him twist the knife. When it finally ended, Michael walked back to his new office. Actual office. Door, window, desk. It felt wrong, like wearing someone else's clothes. Susan knocked on the open door. "How was it?" "Tom's charming. He's an ass, but he's good at his job." "Is he the one who sent the text?" "I don't know. I'm having our security team look into it. In the meantime, I've arranged for a private security firm to watch your apartment building, just as a precaution." "Susan, you can't." "Yes, I can, and I am. Your daughter's safety isn't negotiable." Michael sank into his desk chair. "This is insane. 24 hours ago, I was getting fired from a garage. Now I'm in an office with a window and someone's threatening my kid, and I have security watching my apartment. How is this my life?" Susan sat down across from him. "Do you want to quit?" "No." "Why not?" "Because I need this job. Because Emily deserves better than what I can give her on my own. Because for the first time in 2 years, I can actually see a future that doesn't involve choosing between rent and groceries." "Those are good reasons." "And because if I quit, whoever sent that text wins, and I'm really tired of losing." Susan smiled. "Good, then let's get to work." The first week was hell. Tom assigned Michael to audit Line 3 in Louisville, which meant traveling 4 hours each way, alone, no support, no guidance, just him and a manufacturing line he'd never seen before, and a team of workers who knew he was there to fix their mistakes. The line supervisor was a guy named Rick, 52, been with Orion 30 years, knew every bolt on that line. "You're the new hotshot from corporate. I'm the new guy, yeah. Heard you're a mechanic." "That's right. And Susan thinks you can fix what 7 consultants and 2 years couldn't." "I don't know what Susan thinks. I'm just here to look." Rick laughed, bitter. "Look all you want. Won't change anything. This line's cursed." "Lines don't get cursed. They get neglected." "Careful, hotshot. Some of us have been busting our asses trying to save this line. I'm not saying you haven't. I'm saying something's broken that nobody's found yet." Michael spent 3 days on Line 3, watching, listening, asking questions. The workers were hostile at first, but he didn't talk down to them, didn't pretend to know more than he did. Just asked and listened. On day 2, he noticed something. Every time Station 7 completed its cycle, there was a slight delay before Station 8 started. Less than a second, but it was there. "Rick, how often do you calibrate the sensors between 7 and 8? "Every 6 months, per protocol." "When was the last time?" Rick checked his logs. 4 months ago. "And before that?" 6 months before that. "Show me the calibration reports." Rick pulled them up. Michael read through them twice, then a third time. "These are identical." "What?" "These reports. From 4 months ago and 10 months ago. Word for word, number for number. Identical." Rick's face went pale. "That's impossible. Unless someone's copying old reports instead of doing actual calibrations." They found the maintenance tech who'd signed off on the calibrations. 23 years old, fresh out of trade school, terrified. "I didn't know what I was doing," the kid stammered. "Nobody trained me. They just handed me the calibration gun and told me to figure it out. So I did what everyone else does. I copied last month's report." "Everyone else?" Michael looked at Rick. Rick wouldn't meet his eyes. "It's not just him. Half the maintenance crew does it. We're so understaffed and undertrained that we fake it to keep up." Michael called Gregory that night. "I found your problem. Already. Yeah, your maintenance crew isn't maintaining anything. They're falsifying reports because nobody trained them properly, and they're too scared to admit they don't know what they're doing." Jesus Christ. It gets worse. If they're doing this on Line 3, they're probably doing it everywhere, every line, every plant. This isn't a Line 3 problem. This is a company-wide problem. Silence. "Gregory, you still there?" "Yeah, I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out how we missed this." "You missed it because you trusted the reports. You assumed people were doing their jobs. But nobody's doing their jobs because nobody taught them how. What do you recommend?" "Shut down Line 3. 2 weeks. Full retraining from the ground up. And audit every other line in every plant. If you find the same thing, shut those down too. We can't shut down production. You're already losing money. Shutting down to fix it is cheaper than pretending it's not broken." Gregory was quiet for a long time. "I'll talk to Susan." Michael hung up and checked his phone. 3 missed calls from Emily's school. His heart stopped. He called back immediately. "This is Michael Turner. Is Emily okay?" "Mr. Turner, yes, Emily's fine, but there was an incident today. A man tried to pick her up from school." "What?" Michael's voice came out strangled. "He said he was your brother, had ID and everything, but Emily didn't recognize him and she started screaming. We called the police. They took him in for questioning." "Where's Emily now?" "She's with the principal, safe, but she's very upset." "I'm on my way." Michael made the 4-hour drive in 3, broke every speed limit, didn't care. When he got to the school, Emily was sitting in the principal's office, clutching her backpack like a life raft. The moment she saw him, she burst into tears. "Daddy!" He scooped her up, held her so tight she squeaked. "You're okay. You're safe. I've got you." The principal filled him in. The man had shown a fake ID claiming to be Michael's brother, David Turner, even had paperwork saying he was authorized for pickup. The school had almost released Emily to him until she started screaming that she didn't know him. "The police are holding him for questioning," the principal said. "They want to talk to you." Michael gave his statement, described the threatening text, the man at his apartment, everything. The detective took notes and promised to investigate, but Michael could see it in his eyes. Without more evidence, there wasn't much they could do. That night, Michael didn't take Emily home. He packed a bag and drove to a hotel, paid cash, registered under a fake name, paranoid maybe, but his daughter was alive and that's all that mattered. Emily fell asleep around 9. Michael sat by the window watching the parking lot phone in his hand. At 11, Susan called. "I heard what happened." "How?" "Gregory told me, Michael, this has to stop. Whoever's doing this, they're escalating." "I know. Let me help. I have resources, security, investigators, whatever you need. What I need is to know who's doing this and why." "I'm working on it. In the meantime, I've arranged for a security detail. 2 guards, 1 at Emily's school, 1 at your apartment." "Susan, this isn't negotiable. Your daughter was almost kidnapped today. I'm not taking any more chances." Michael closed his eyes. "Thank you. Don't thank me, just stay safe." After she hung up, Michael got another text. Same unknown number. "You should have walked away. Last warning. Next time we won't fail." Michael's hand shook. He wanted to throw the phone across the room, wanted to scream, wanted to grab Emily and run and never look back. Instead, he texted back, "Come after my daughter again and I'll bury you." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. No response. The next morning, Michael drove Emily to school with a security guard following in a black SUV. At the school entrance, another guard was waiting. Ex-military, professional. The kind of guy who could break someone in half without blinking. "Mr. Turner, I'm Marcus. I'll be here all day, every day. Nobody gets near your daughter without going through me." Emily looked up at Marcus wide-eyed. "Are you a superhero?" Marcus smiled. "Something like that." At Orion Motors, Susan was waiting in Michael's office. "We need to talk. About Tom Wessler and why he's been making inquiries about you." Michael sat down. "What kind of inquiries?" "Background checks, financial records, Emily's school enrollment. He's been digging into your entire life." "That's legal." "Technically, yes. He's VP of operations. He can request background checks on new hires, but this goes beyond standard protocol. He's looking for something." "For what?" "Leverage, dirt, anything he can use to discredit you." "Why does he care this much?" Susan leaned against the desk. "Because I chose you over his son-in-law, and Tom doesn't lose gracefully. He sees you as a threat." "I'm not a threat. I'm just trying to do my job." "You found a company-wide maintenance problem in 3 days, a problem that's been costing us millions. That makes you a threat to everyone who's been ignoring it for years, including Tom. Especially Tom. Operations is his domain. If it comes out that his division has been falsifying maintenance reports for years, his career is over." Michael rubbed his face. "So he's trying to destroy me before I can destroy him." "That's my theory." "And the threatening text? The guy at the school?" "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." Susan stood up. "In the meantime, watch your back. Tom plays dirty. He'll use Emily if he can. He'll use anything. He already tried. Then we stop him, together." Michael looked at her, really looked at her. CEO of a billion-dollar company, one of the richest women in America, and she was standing in his office offering to fight his battles. "Why are you doing this? Doing what? Helping me, protecting me. You could fire me right now and make all of this go away." Susan smiled, sad. "Because you're the first real thing that's happened to me in 10 years, and I'm not ready to lose that yet." Before Michael could respond, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. "What?" "Mr. Turner," female voice. professional. This is Detective Sarah Martinez with Metro PD. We questioned the man from Emily's school. He's willing to talk, says he has information about who hired him, but he'll only talk to you. Michael glanced at Susan. Now, can you come to the station? I'll be there in 20 minutes. At the police station, Detective Martinez led Michael to an interrogation room. The man from the school sat handcuffed to the table, 30-something, nervous, sweating. Tell him what you told me, Martinez said. The man wouldn't look at Michael. I'm sorry about your kid. I didn't know they were going to use her like that. Who hired you? I don't know his name. Met him at a bar in Louisville. Older guy, nice suit. Said he'd pay me $5,000 to pick up a kid from school and bring her to an address downtown. Said it was a custody thing, that you were keeping her from her mother. I'm a widower. There is no mother. I know that now. Look, I'm sorry. I needed the money. What address? The man rattled off an address in the financial district. Michael didn't recognize it. Martinez handed him a photo. Do you know this man? Michael looked at the picture. His blood ran cold. Tom Wessler, getting into a car outside the bar in Louisville. Same night the guy claimed he was hired. That's my boss. Martinez nodded. We're bringing him in for questioning, but I need you to know this is circumstantial. Being at the same bar isn't proof of anything. It's enough for me. Michael walked out of the station and called Susan. It's Tom. He hired someone to kidnap Emily. Michael, slow down. The police have a photo of him at the bar where the guy was recruited. Same night, same place. It's him. That doesn't prove. I don't need proof. I know it's him, and I'm going to end this. Michael, don't do anything stupid. He hung up, drove straight to Orion Motors, took the elevator to the 47th floor, walked past Linda and the others and straight into Tom's office. Tom looked up from his computer. Turner, I didn't hear you knock. You tried to kidnap my daughter. Excuse me. Louisville, the bar, the guy you hired, the police have you on camera. Tom's face didn't change. I have no idea what you're talking about. You wanted me gone so badly you went after a 7-year-old. That's a serious accusation. Do you have proof? The police do. Then let them handle it. In the meantime, get out of my office before I have security remove you. Michael stepped forward. You come near my daughter again and you'll what hit me, go ahead. Give me a reason to have you arrested. Susan appeared in the doorway. Michael, my office, now. Michael didn't move. Tom smiled. Listen to your friend Turner. Before you do something you'll regret. In Susan's office, Michael paced like a caged animal. He did it. I know he did it. I believe you, but the police need the evidence we don't have yet. So what do? Wait for him to try again? No, you let me handle Tom. You focus on line 3, on doing your job, on being so good at what you do that he can't touch you. That's not enough. It has to be enough, because if you go after Tom directly, you'll lose. He's been here 22 years. He has allies, power, money. You have me, and that's it. Michael stopped pacing. Is that really all I have? Susan met his eyes. No, you have Emily. You have your integrity. You have the fact that you're right and he's wrong. And sometimes that's enough to win. And if it's not, then we find another way. But we do it smart, not angry. Michael sat down. His hands were still shaking. I've never felt this helpless. I know, but you're not helpless. You're just outnumbered. For now. His phone buzzed. Text from Emily's school. Everything okay today? Emily had a good day. Marcus says hi. Michael showed Susan. She smiled. See, you're protecting her. That's what matters. For how long? How long until Tom finds another way, another angle? As long as it takes. And in the meantime, we build your case. We document everything. We make you indispensable. And when the time is right, we take him down. Michael looked at her. You really believe that? I have to. Because the alternative is letting him win. And I'm not willing to do that. That night, Michael picked up Emily from school. Marcus walked them to the car. Quiet day, Mr. Turner. No incidents. Thank you. At home, Emily did her homework while Michael made dinner. Spaghetti again. This time with actual sauce because he'd gotten his first paycheck. $17,000 after taxes, more money than he'd ever seen at once. Emily twirled her fork. Daddy, why is that man following us everywhere? He's just making sure we're safe. Safe from what? From bad people. Are there bad people trying to get us? Michael put down his fork, looked at his daughter, 7 years old, and already learning that the world wasn't safe. Yeah, baby, there are. Why? Because some people don't like it when other people get good things. They get jealous, mean. That's stupid. Yeah, it really is. Emily was quiet for a moment. Are we going to be okay? Michael reached across the table, took her small hand in his. We're going to be better than okay. I promise. You can't promise that. Watch me. Later, after Emily went to bed, Michael sat in the dark and thought about promises. About the one he'd made to Rachel before she died. Keep Emily safe. Give her a good life. Be the dad she deserves. He was trying. God, he was trying. But some days it felt like the whole world was working against him. His phone lit up. Susan's number. Can't sleep either, she texted. How'd you know? Because I'm the same way. Want to talk? Michael called her. Hi. Hi. She sounded tired. How's Emily? Scared, trying not to show it. She's a lot like you. Is that good or bad? Good, definitely good. They were quiet for a moment. Then Susan said, I fired Tom today. Michael sat up straight. What? I can't prove he tried to kidnap Emily, but I can prove he's been falsifying maintenance reports. And I can prove he authorized cost-cutting measures that put workers at risk. That's enough to terminate him. Susan, he's gone, Michael, effective immediately. Security walked him out at 6 p.m. He's going to retaliate. Let him try. I have lawyers. Good ones. Michael didn't know what to say. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Tom's not going to go quietly, but at least he won't be at Orion anymore. After they hung up, Michael felt something he hadn't felt in days. Hope. Maybe Susan was right. Maybe sometimes being right was enough to win. He checked on Emily one more time. She was asleep, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her chin. Safe. For now. Michael sat on the edge of her bed and whispered, I'm gonna make this right, baby, I promise. Outside, Marcus sat in his SUV watching the apartment. In Louisville, Line 3 sat silent, waiting for repairs. In his penthouse across town, Tom Wessler made phone calls. Planning, plotting, preparing. And in her own apartment, Susan Wright stared at her phone, wondering if she'd just made everything better, or so much worse. Michael's journey intensifies as corporate whispers and hidden challenges test his resolve. Subtle undermining from Tom's remaining allies creates a tense undercurrent. A critical system vulnerability emerges, threatening Orion's most anticipated launch. Michael's unconventional background becomes both his greatest weakness and unexpected strength. 2 weeks later, Line 3 roared back to life. Michael stood on the factory floor in Louisville, watching the newly trained crew run through their first production cycle. No delays, no errors. Rick stood beside him, arms crossed, watching his team work like a well-oiled machine. I'll be damned, Rick said. It actually worked. You sound surprised. I am surprised. We've had consultants crawling all over this place for 2 years. You fixed it in 14 days. I didn't fix anything. Your crew did. I just showed them how. Rick turned to him. You know, when corporate sent down a mechanic to solve our problems, I thought it was a joke. I was wrong. You're all right, Turner. Michael shook his hand. Your crew's all right, too. They just needed someone to believe in them. The flight back to headquarters felt different, lighter. Michael pulled out his phone and saw 17 missed calls from Gregory. He called back. Michael, thank God. Where have you been? Louisville, watching Line 3 come back online. Gregory, it's perfect. 0 defects in the first 100 units. That's great. Listen, I need you back here immediately. We have a situation. Michael's stomach dropped. What kind of situation? The kind that could shut down the entire company. How fast can you get here? I'm at the airport now. 3 hours. Make it 2. Gregory hung up. Michael ran to the gate and barely made his flight. The entire trip back, his mind raced through possibilities. Equipment failure, safety violation, product recall. Nothing good started with situation. Susan met him at the elevator. Her face was pale, her usual composure cracked. What happened? Our flagship launch. The E7 electric sedan. We're supposed to debut it in 72 hours at the International Auto Show. Biggest product launch in company history. 3 years of development, $500 million invested. And the battery system is failing. Catastrophically. We've had 4 units catch fire in testing today. 4 if we launch this car and it catches fire in public. Orion Motors is finished. They walked into a conference room packed with people. Engineers, executives, lawyers. Everyone talking over each other. Gregory stood at the head of the table trying to maintain order. People please, one at a time. Linda Chen from Process Engineering spoke up. The fire suppression system isn't activating fast enough. By the time it kicks in, thermal runaway has already started. We need to redesign the entire battery housing. How long? Gregory asked. 6 months, minimum. We don't have 6 months, we have 3 days. Then we delay the launch. A man in an expensive suit slammed his hand on the table. Michael didn't recognize him, but from the way everyone quieted down, he was important. We can't delay. We've spent $40 million on marketing. The auto show is sold out. Every major publication in the world is covering this launch. If we pull out now, our stock will tank and our competitors will eat us alive. If we launch a car that catches fire, people will die, Linda shot back. I'd rather tank our stock than kill our customers. There has to be another option, Susan said quietly. Everyone turned to her. We've built this company on innovation, on solving impossible problems. Someone in this room has to have an idea. Silence. Michael cleared his throat. Can I see the battery housing design? Linda pulled up schematics on the screen. Michael studied them for a long moment. The battery cells were packed tight, maximizing space and range. The fire suppression system was chemical-based, activated by heat sensors. Standard design, industry best practices. What's the failure point? He asked. Thermal runaway starts in one cell and cascades to neighboring cells faster than the suppression system can respond. By the time the sensors detect the heat spike, 3 or 4 cells are already burning. So the sensors are too slow. They're state-of-the-art. We can't make them faster. Then don't rely on the sensors. Michael pointed at the screen. What if you compartmentalize each cell individual fireproof barriers? If one cell goes into thermal runaway, it can't spread to its neighbors. That would add weight, someone objected. Reduce range. By how much? Linda ran calculations on her laptop. Maybe 3%. Call it 15 miles. So instead of 300 miles per charge, you get 285. Still better than any competitor, and the car doesn't burn down. The expensive suit guy shook his head. Redesigning the housing takes months. We've been over this. You don't redesign it, Michael said. You retrofit it, pull the existing battery packs, install barriers between cells, reassemble. I've rebuilt engine blocks in less time. This isn't an engine block. It's the same principle. Disassembly, modification, reassembly. The parts already exist. You're just reconfiguring them. Gregory leaned forward. How long would it take? Depends on how many people you have and how fast they can work. But if you give me a good crew and let me run this like a pit stop instead of a science project 48 hours, maybe less. The room erupted in arguments. Linda said it was impossible. The lawyers said it was too risky. The expensive suit guy said they should just launch the car as is and hope for the best. Susan stood up. Everyone out, except Michael and Gregory. They filed out, still arguing. When the door closed, Susan turned to Michael. Can you really do this? I don't know. But I know sitting in meetings talking about it won't fix anything. You want this car safe? Give me the tools and the people, and get out of my way. What do you need? Access to the prototype vehicles, a team that's willing to work around the clock, and someone who can fabricate the barrier components fast. Gregory pulled out his phone. I'll get you everything, but Michael, if this fails, then it fails, but at least we tried. Susan looked at him for a long moment. Okay, do it. You have full authority, whatever you need. 20 minutes later, Michael stood in the prototype lab surrounded by 6 E7 sedans. His team assembled around him, 12 engineers and techs, all looking skeptical. Linda Chen was there too, arms crossed, ready to say, I told you so. All right, listen up, Michael said. I know most of you don't think this will work. That's fine, but here's what I know. I've rebuilt transmissions in parking lots in the rain. I've swapped engines in driveways with nothing but hand tools and YouTube. This right here, this is just another repair job. Bigger scale, higher stakes, but same basic principles. This isn't a repair, Linda said. This is emergency engineering. Call it whatever you want. Point is, we have 48 hours to make these cars safe, so we're going to break into teams. 2 people per vehicle. You disassemble the battery pack. I'll supervise the barrier installation you reassemble. Then we test. If it works, we move to the next car. If it doesn't, we iterate and try again. And if we can't get it done in time, someone asked, then Susan delays the launch and we all get fired, so let's not find out. They worked through the night. Michael moved between vehicles, troubleshooting problems, offering solutions. His hands remembered the rhythm: remove, inspect, modify, reinstall, test, over and over. Around 2 a.m., Linda approached him. You're actually doing it. We're actually doing it. Your calculations made this possible. My calculations said it couldn't be done in 48 hours. Good thing I don't listen to calculations. She almost smiled. Turner, I owe you an apology. When Susan hired you, I thought it was nepotism or charity. I didn't think a mechanic could handle this level of engineering. And now I think maybe I've been doing engineering wrong. Too much theory, not enough getting my hands dirty. At 4 a.m., they finished the first vehicle. Michael ran the thermal test himself. Induced a malfailure. Waited. The cell burned hot, hit the barrier, and stopped. No cascade, no spread. The fire suppression system kicked in and neutralized the single cell. The team erupted in cheers. 1 down, Michael said. 5 to go. Susan showed up at 6 a.m. with coffee and breakfast sandwiches. She found Michael under the third vehicle, reinstalling a battery tray. You haven't slept. I'll sleep when this is done. Michael, you need to rest. I need to finish this. He slid out from under the car. His shirt was covered in grease. His eyes were bloodshot. How's Emily? Marcus says she's fine. Went to school, had a good day. Good, that's good. Susan handed him a coffee. You're going to pull this off, aren't you? Ask me in 36 hours. By the second night, they were on the last vehicle. Michael's hands were shaking from exhaustion. He'd been awake for 43 hours straight, but the finish line was in sight. Gregory walked in at 11 p.m. Michael, go home. Get some sleep. Your team can finish this. I'm staying. You're barely standing. I'm fine. He wasn't fine. Around midnight, he nearly dropped a battery cell, caught it at the last second. Linda grabbed his arm. Turner, you're done. Go, we've got this. Linda, you taught us how to think like mechanics. Let us prove we learned. Go. Michael looked at the team. They were tired too, but their eyes were clear, confident. He'd given them something they didn't have before, belief in themselves. All right, but you call me if anything goes wrong. We won't need to. Susan drove him home. Michael fell asleep in the passenger seat before they hit the highway. When they pulled up to his apartment, she had to shake him awake. Hey, you're home. Michael stumbled inside. Emily was asleep. Mrs. Chen had stayed late. He thanked her, locked the door, and collapsed on the couch without even taking off his shoes. He woke up to his phone ringing. 6 a.m. Linda's name on the screen. Please tell me it worked. It worked. All 6 vehicles passed thermal testing. 0 failures, 0 propagation. The E7 is safe. Michael closed his eyes. Thank God. Thank you. None of this happens without you. The auto show was chaos. Press everywhere. Cameras, lights. The unveiling was scheduled for 2 p.m. Michael stood backstage in a borrowed suit that didn't quite fit, watching the crowd gather. Susan found him in the wings. You clean up nice. This suit's ridiculous. I look like I'm playing dress-up. You look like someone who just saved a $500 million launch. Come on, I want you on stage with me. Susan, no, this is your moment. This is our moment. You earned this. At 2 p.m., the lights dimmed. Susan walked on stage to thunderous applause. Michael stood just off stage, heart pounding. She gave her speech, talked about innovation, safety, the future of electric vehicles. Then she paused. But none of this would be possible without the incredible team at Orion Motors, people who worked tirelessly to solve impossible problems. People like Michael Turner, our operations manager, who spent the last 48 hours ensuring this vehicle meets the highest safety standards in the industry. Michael, come out here. Michael froze. Susan gestured to him. The crowd was waiting. He walked on stage. The lights were blinding. Susan shook his hand. Tell them what you did. Michael looked out at hundreds of faces. Journalists, industry experts, competitors. He took the microphone. Hi, I'm Michael. I'm a mechanic. 3 weeks ago, I was fixing water pumps in a garage in a town you've never heard of. Now I'm here because someone took a chance on me. Someone believed that fixing cars and fixing companies aren't that different. You find what's broken. You figure out why. You fix it. That's what we did with the E7. We found a problem. We fixed it. And now you've got the safest electric vehicle on the market. He handed the microphone back to Susan. The crowd applauded. Not polite applause, real applause. Backstage reporters swarmed him, asking questions, taking pictures. Michael answered as best he could, feeling completely out of his depth. When it finally ended, he found Susan in her dressing room. You did great out there. I sounded like an idiot. You sounded real. That's better than polished. She looked at him. You know what you did right? You didn't just save a product launch. You saved the company. If those cars had failed, Orion would have been finished. Stock would have tanked. Lawsuits would have buried us. You prevented all of that. The team prevented it. I just pointed them in the right direction. Stop being humble. It's annoying. Michael laughed, actually laughed. Okay, fine, I'm awesome. Is that better? Much. Susan's expression softened. Michael, I need to tell you something. When I met you on that roadside, I was having the worst day of my life. I'd just found out my CFO was embezzling funds. My board was trying to force me out. I felt completely alone. And then this mechanic stops and helps me without asking for anything. It reminded me that good people still exist, that kindness still matters. Susan, let me finish. You changed my life that day. Not because you fixed my car, because you showed me what real integrity looks like. And watching you these past 3 weeks, watching you fight for your daughter, fight for this company, fight for people you barely know. You've restored something I thought was dead, my faith in humanity. Michael didn't know what to say. You gave me a chance when nobody else would. I'm the one who should be grateful. Then we're even. They stood there for a moment. Then Michael's phone rang. Emily's school. Mr. Turner, everything's fine, but Emily's running a fever. Can you come get her? On my way. He looked at Susan. I have to go. Of course, go. Family first. Michael picked up Emily from the nurse's office. She was pale and clingy. My throat hurts, Daddy. I know, baby. Let's get you home. That night he sat with her on the couch, watching her fever climb. 101, 102, 103. He gave her medicine, put a cool cloth on her forehead, sang her the songs Rachel used to sing. Around 10 p.m., his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Congratulations on the launch, but you should know this isn't over. Tom sends his regards. Michael's blood went cold. He He called Susan immediately. Tom's still coming after me. How do you know? I just got another text. Says this isn't over. Michael, Tom's gone. He can't touch you. He has allies. People who worked for him. People who think I stole his job. Susan was quiet. I'll look into it. In the meantime, stay vigilant. Emily coughed beside him. Her fever hit 103.5. Michael made a decision. He packed a bag, grabbed Emily, and drove to a different hotel. Paid cash again. Different name. In the room, Emily curled up in bed, shivering. Daddy, why do we keep leaving home? Just being careful, sweetheart. I don't like being careful. I like being home. I know. Soon. I promise. She fell asleep. Michael sat by the window watching the parking lot again. His phone buzzed. This time, it was Gregory. Michael, we have a problem. Someone leaked the battery housing modifications to the press. They're calling it a cover-up, saying we knew the E7 was dangerous and hid it. That's not what happened. I know that. You know that. But the story's out there now. Stocks dropping. Legals panicking. Susan's in an emergency board meeting. Who leaked it? We don't know, but whoever it was had access to engineering files. Internal documents. It had to be someone at Orion. Michael closed his eyes. Tom, had to be. One last shot at bringing the company down. What do we do? Susan wants you at headquarters tomorrow morning. We're holding a press conference. She wants you to explain what really happened. Set the record straight. Gregory, I'm not good at press conferences. You were good at the auto show. Just do that again. Tell the truth. People will believe you. After Gregory hung up, Michael checked on Emily, still feverish, still asleep. He couldn't leave her, but he couldn't let Susan face this alone, either. He called Mrs. Chen. I need a favor, a big one. At 8 a.m., Mrs. Chen arrived at the hotel. Emily was still asleep. Michael explained the situation. You go, Mrs. Chen said. I'll stay with her. You take care of business. If anything happens, Marcus is downstairs. We'll be fine. Go. Michael made it to Orion Motors by 9. The lobby was packed with reporters. Security had to escort him through the crowd. Questions flew at him from every direction. Is it true the E7 catches fire? Did Orion cover up safety defects? Are you resigning? He didn't answer, just kept walking. Upstairs, Susan was in her office with Gregory and a team of lawyers. She looked exhausted. Michael, thank God. What's the plan? Transparency. We go out there, explain exactly what happened. The battery issue, the fix, why it's safe now. No spin, just truth. And if they don't believe us, then we show them. We have one of the E7s in the basement garage. We run a live thermal test. Prove it's safe. At 10 a.m., they walked into the press conference. Cameras everywhere. Michael's hands were sweating. Susan stepped up to the podium first. Thank you all for coming. I know there are questions about the E7's safety. I'm here to address those questions directly. 3 days before our launch, we identified a potential issue with battery thermal management. Rather than ignore it or downplay it, we stopped everything and fixed it. Michael Turner, our operations manager, led that effort. Michael, can you explain what we found and how we addressed it? Michael stepped up to the microphone. His voice shook at first, but then steadied. We found that under certain failure conditions, a single battery cell could trigger thermal runaway in neighboring cells. Industry standard fire suppression wasn't fast enough to prevent cascade failure, so we added individual barriers between cells. Compartmentalized the system. Now if one cell fails, it's contained. Can't spread. We tested this extensively, ran every scenario. The E7 is safe. Safer than anything else on the market. A reporter stood up. But you only discovered this 3 days before launch. How can consumers trust that you didn't miss something else? Because we didn't stop looking. We're still testing, still monitoring. Safety isn't a checkbox, it's a commitment. And Orion's committed to building cars that protect the people inside them. Another reporter. Some are saying this was a cover-up, that Orion knew about the defect for months. Susan leaned into the microphone. That's categorically false. We discovered the issue during final testing and addressed it immediately. Anyone saying otherwise is either misinformed or deliberately spreading misinformation. Can you prove the car is safe? Michael looked at Susan. She nodded. Yeah, we can prove it. Follow me. They led the entire press corps down to the garage. One of the E7s sat under bright lights. Michael opened the battery compartment. This is a production unit, same specs as every E7 we're selling. Linda, can you set up the thermal test? Linda Chen connected sensors to a single battery cell. We're going to induce thermal runaway in this cell. Watch what happens. She activated the test. The cell heated rapidly, started smoking. Then the barrier kicked in, containing the reaction. The fire suppression system activated. 30 seconds later, it was over. One cell destroyed, all others intact. The reporters were silent. That's what happens in a worst-case scenario, Michael said. One cell fails, the car contains it. The driver stays safe. That's engineering, that's safety, that's Orion Motors. The press conference ended at noon. Michael checked his phone. 7 missed calls from Mrs. Chen. He called back immediately. What's wrong? Emily's fever won't break. It's 104.5. I'm taking her to the hospital. I'm on my way. He ran, didn't wait for the elevator, took the stairs. 47 flights, burst out into the lobby, and sprinted to his car. Susan caught up with him in the parking lot. Michael, wait. What happened? Emily, hospital. I have to go. I'm coming with you. You don't have to. I'm coming. They made it to the hospital in 15 minutes. Mrs. Chen was in the waiting room. They took her back. Dr. Patel's with her now. Michael paced. Susan sat beside Mrs. Chen. After 20 minutes that felt like 20 hours, Dr. Patel emerged. Mr. Turner, Emily's stable. It's pneumonia. We're admitting her for IV antibiotics and observation. Pneumonia. Her immune system's been under stress. Sometimes that happens when kids are dealing with anxiety or trauma. Has anything changed recently in her life? Michael almost laughed. You could say that. Well, she's going to be fine, but she needs rest. And she needs stability. Kids her age need routine, predictability. Can I see her? Of course. Emily looked so small in the hospital bed, IV in her arm, oxygen monitor on her finger, but when she saw Michael, she smiled. Hi, Daddy. Hi, baby. How do you feel? Tired, but Miss Susan's here. Susan had followed him in. She stood at the foot of the bed, looking uncertain. Hi, Emily. Hi. Did you see Daddy on TV? Mrs. Chen showed me on her phone. He looked really official. Susan smiled. He was very official, very impressive. He's always impressive. He's my dad. Michael sat on the edge of the bed. You scared me, Em. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get sick. I know. It's not your fault. Emily looked at him seriously. Daddy, I don't like the hotels. I want to go home. Soon, sweetheart. When? Michael glanced at Susan. When it's safe. When will it be safe? I don't know. That's what you always say, but I'm tired of not knowing. I want to know when things will be normal again. Michael's throat tightened. Me too, baby. Me too. Susan stepped forward. Emily, can I tell you something? Okay. Your dad is the bravest person I know. He's fighting really hard to keep you safe and to make the world better. And sometimes when you're fighting that hard, things get messy for a while. But it won't be messy forever, I promise. Do you promise, or just regular promise? Promise. Emily considered this. Okay, I believe you. After Emily fell asleep, Michael and Susan sat in the waiting room. She's right, Michael said. She deserves normal, and I can't give that to her while Tom's out there plotting revenge. Tom's powerless now. Is he? He leaked those documents. He's still damaging the company, still coming after me. When does it end? Susan was quiet for a moment. When we stop reacting and start acting. When we go after him instead of waiting for the next attack. How? Leave that to me. You focus on Emily. I'll handle Tom. Susan, trust me. 2 days later, Michael was sitting with Emily in her hospital room when his phone buzzed. Susan's name. Turn on the news, Channel 7. Michael found the remote, flipped to Channel 7. The headline read, Former Orion executive arrested for corporate espionage. Tom Wessler's face filled the screen, handcuffed, being led out of his house. The reporter's voice, Tom Wessler, former VP of Operations at Orion Motors, was arrested this morning on charges of corporate espionage and attempted extortion. According to court documents, Wessler allegedly leaked confidential engineering documents to competitors and threatened employees after his termination last month. If convicted, he faces up to 20 years in prison. Michael stared at the screen. Susan's voice on the phone. I hired investigators. They traced the document leak back to Tom's personal email. Found evidence he'd been selling company secrets for months. The attempted kidnapping of Emily sealed it. He's done, Michael. He can't hurt you anymore. Michael closed his eyes. It's really over. It's really over. Emily looked up from her coloring book. Who was that? That was Miss Susan. She just told me some good news. What kind of good news? The kind that means we can go home soon and stay there. Emily's face lit up. Really, promise, 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 promise. That night, after Emily fell asleep again, Michael stood at her hospital window and looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, Tom was in a cell. Somewhere out there, the E7 was hitting dealer lots. Somewhere out there, Line 3 was running perfectly. And here, in this room, his daughter was safe. His phone buzzed one more time. Susan, how are you holding up? I don't know. It doesn't feel real yet. It will. Give it time. Susan, I don't know how to thank you. You already did. You stopped on Route 47. That was enough. That was just being human. Exactly. And that's rarer than you think. They talked for another hour about Emily, about the company, about what came next. When they finally hung up, Michael felt something he hadn't felt in 3 weeks. Peace. The next morning, Dr. Patel discharged Emily. Michael signed the paperwork, gathered her things, and carried her to the car. We're going home, she asked. We're going home. Marcus was waiting at their apartment. All clear, Mr. Turner. I'll keep watch for another week, just to be safe, but it looks like your troubles are over. Thank you, Marcus, for everything. Inside, their apartment looked exactly the same, but everything felt different, lighter, like a weight had been lifted. Emily went straight to her room, hugging her stuffed animals. Michael started unpacking the bags they'd been living out of for weeks. His phone rang. Gregory. Michael, board meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. Susan wants you there. Why? Can't say. Just be there. The next morning, Michael put on his funeral suit again and drove to Orion Motors. The security guard who'd given him a red temporary badge 3 weeks ago handed him a blue permanent one. Welcome aboard, Mr. Turner. For real this time. On the 47th floor, the conference room was packed. Every board member, every executive. Susan stood at the head of the table. Michael, come in. We've been waiting for you. He sat down, confused. Susan smiled. The board and I have been discussing your performance over the past 3 weeks, specifically your work on Line 3 and the E7 launch. We've decided to make some changes. Michael's stomach dropped. Changes. You're being promoted. Senior Vice President of Operations. Effective immediately. You'll oversee all manufacturing facilities, all production lines, everything. The room erupted in applause. Michael sat there stunned. What? Gregory leaned over. Accept the promotion, Turner. Don't make this weird. I accept. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Say you'll keep doing what you've been doing, Susan said. Keep fixing what's broken. Keep believing in people. Keep being you. After the meeting, Susan walked Michael to his new office. Actual corner office. 2 windows. Real furniture. This is too much, he said. This is exactly right. You earned this. 3 weeks ago, I was unemployed. 3 weeks ago, I was alone. Now I have someone I can trust. Someone who sees the world the way I do. That's worth more than any salary. Michael looked at her. Is that all? This is professional trust? Susan met his eyes. I don't know, is it? Before he could answer, his phone rang. Emily's school. Mr. Turner, just checking in. Emily's having a great day. Thought you'd want to know. Michael smiled. Thank you. That means everything. When he hung up, Susan was watching him. She's your whole world, isn't she? Yeah, she is. That's beautiful. Don't lose that. No matter what else happens, don't lose that. Michael nodded. I won't. But as he stood in his new office, looking out at the city below, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between them, something neither of them was ready to name yet. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a quiet voice whispered maybe, just maybe, he was allowed to have more than one thing in his life worth fighting for. That quiet voice grew louder over the next 2 months. Michael threw himself into work visiting every Orion facility across the country. He fixed production lines in Detroit, streamlined logistics in Tennessee, rebuilt teams in California. Everywhere he went, the same pattern emerged. People who'd been ignored suddenly felt heard. Problems that had festered for years got solved in days. By November, Orion's production efficiency was up 32%, and employee satisfaction scores had doubled. But the long hours meant less time with Emily. Mrs. Chen picked her up from school most days. Michael made it home for dinner maybe 3 nights a week. The rest of the time he was on planes or in hotels or in meetings that never seemed to end. Emily didn't complain. She never complained. But Michael saw it in her eyes. The way she'd light up when he walked through the door, like she hadn't been sure he'd come home at all. On a Friday in late November, Susan called him into her office. Sit down. If this is about the Phoenix plant, I already have a plan. It's not about Phoenix, it's about you. Michael sat. What about me? You're burning out. I can see it. Gregory can see it. Everyone can see it except you. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're running on fumes. When's the last time you took a day off? I don't need days off. I need to finish what I started. Susan leaned forward. Michael, you've done more in 2 months than most people do in 2 years. The company's thriving. Your reputation is solid. You've proven yourself 10 times over. It's okay to slow down. I can't slow down, not yet. Why not? Because the moment I slow down, I start thinking. And when I start thinking, I remember that 2 months ago, someone tried to kidnap my daughter, that I almost lost everything, that I'm one mistake away from losing it all again. Tom's in prison. The threats are over. You're safe. Am I? Because I still check under my car every morning for bombs. I still look over my shoulder in parking lots. I still wake up at 3 a.m. convinced someone's breaking into our apartment. That doesn't feel safe, Susan. That feels like borrowed time. Susan was quiet for a long moment. You need a break, real rest, not just a day off, a reset. I can't. Yes, you can. It's Saturday tomorrow. No work, no calls, no emails, just you and Emily. Do something fun, something normal. Remember what that feels like. And if something comes up, then Gregory handles it. That's what he gets paid for. Michael started to argue, then stopped. When was the last time he'd spent a full day with Emily? Really spent it, not just half distracted between phone calls. Okay, 1 day. Good, and Michael. Susan's expression softened. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad Emily's safe. I'm glad you're here. Thanks. Me too. Saturday morning, Emily woke him up at 7 a.m. by jumping on his bed. Daddy, you're home, and it's not even a work day. Yeah, baby, I'm home all day. What do you want to do? Anything, anything. Emily's eyes went wide. Can we go to the park, the big one with the ducks, and have a picnic, please, please, please? Yeah, we can do that. They spent the morning making sandwiches. Emily insisted on cutting them into triangles because triangles taste better than squares. Everybody knows that. They packed juice boxes and chips and the cookies Mrs. Chen had made yesterday. At the park, Emily ran straight for the playground. Michael sat on a bench watching her climb and swing and slide. For the first time in weeks, his phone stayed in his pocket. Nobody called, nobody texted. The world kept turning without him. Mr. Turner. He looked up. Susan stood there in jeans and a sweater, looking nothing like the CEO he saw every day in boardrooms. "Susan, what are you doing here?" "I was driving past and saw your car. Thought I'd say hello. Is that weird?" "That's weird, isn't it?" "No, it's fine. Good, actually." He gestured to the bench. "Want to sit?" She sat. They watched Emily in silence for a moment. "She's gotten so big," Susan said. "Kids do that. Grow when you're not looking. You're doing a good job with her." "I'm trying. Some days I feel like I'm failing spectacularly." "You're not. Look at her. She's happy, confident, kind. That doesn't happen by accident." Emily spotted Susan and came running over. "Miss Susan, are you here for our picnic?" "Oh, I don't want to intrude. You have to stay." Emily grabbed her hand. "We have way too much food anyway, right, Daddy?" Michael smiled. "Right. Way too much." They spread out the blanket under a tree. Emily sat between them, chattering about school and her friends and the science project she was doing on volcanoes. Susan listened like Emily was the most interesting person in the world. And then Tommy said volcanoes are boring, but I said they're not boring. They're literally exploding mountains. How is that boring? Tommy sounds like he doesn't appreciate natural wonders. Susan said seriously, "That's what I said." "Well, not exactly that. I said he was dumb and then I got in trouble, but I was right." "Sometimes being right gets you in trouble," Michael said. "Doesn't make you wrong." After they ate, Emily ran off to feed the ducks. Michael and Susan sat on the blanket watching her. "Can I ask you something?" Susan said. "Sure. Are you happy? I mean really happy, not just okay, I'm surviving happy." Michael considered this. "I'm grateful. Is that the same thing?" "I don't know, is it? When Rachel was sick, I used to think about what life would be like after. I couldn't imagine it, couldn't picture getting through a single day without her, and then she was gone and I had to do it anyway. Had to wake up and make breakfast and take Emily to school and pretend the world hadn't ended. For months I just went through the motions. Surviving. Then I met you, got this job, everything changed. So yeah, I'm grateful, but happy." He shook his head. "I don't know if I remember how to be happy." Susan picked at the grass. "I know what you mean. I built this whole empire, achieved everything I said I would, made more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. And I'm lonely, Michael. So lonely it hurts. I go home every night to an empty penthouse. I eat dinner alone. I watch TV alone. I fall asleep alone. And I think, what's the point? What am I doing all this for if there's no one to share it with? You could have anyone you want." "Could I?" "Because every man I've dated in the past 10 years wanted the CEO, not Susan. They wanted the money, the status, the connections. Nobody wanted me, just me sitting in a park eating triangle sandwiches." Michael looked at her. "I like you sitting in a park eating triangle sandwiches." Yeah, you're real here, not performing, not being perfect, just being." Susan met his eyes. Something passed between them, something neither of them was ready to name yet. Emily came running back. "Daddy, the ducks ate all the bread. Can we get ice cream now?" "Sure, baby." They walked to the ice cream truck. Emily ordered chocolate. Michael got vanilla. Susan got strawberry. They sat on a different bench, eating in comfortable silence. "Miss Susan," Emily said. "Yeah, sweetie. Do you like my dad?" Susan nearly choked on her ice cream. "What? Like him, the way grown-ups do?" Michael's face went red. That's not an appropriate question." "Why not? I'm just asking." Susan looked at Emily, then at Michael. "Yeah, I like your dad. Is that okay with you?" Emily considered this seriously. "Do you make him happy?" "I hope so. Does he seem happy when he talks about me?" "Sometimes he smiles when you call, like a secret smile. He thinks I don't notice, but I do." Michael covered his face with his hands. "Can we please talk about anything else?" "No," Emily said. "This is important. Miss Susan, if you like my dad, and he likes you back, which I think he does, even though he won't say it. Why don't you just be together?" "It's complicated, sweetie." "Why? Because I'm his boss. Because there are rules about these things. Because you're scared." Emily interrupted. Like when I didn't want to try the monkey bars because I thought I'd fall. But then Daddy said being scared is okay, doing it anyway is what matters. So maybe you should try the monkey bars. Susan laughed. That's actually very good advice. I know, I'm smart. Walking back to their cars later, Michael pulled Susan aside while Emily ran ahead. Sorry about that. She's been reading too many fairy tales lately. Don't apologize. She's right about most of it. Susan, I do like you, Michael, more than I should, more than is probably appropriate given our professional relationship, but I can't help it. You're the first person in years who's seen me as Susan, not as the CEO, and I don't want to lose that. You won't lose it. How do you know? Because I'm not going anywhere, even if this, he gestured between them, even if this stays exactly what it is right now, I'm not going anywhere. Susan smiled. Good, because I'm not either. On Monday, Michael was back in his office when Gregory knocked. Got a minute? Sure. What's up? Gregory closed the door. The board wants to create a new position. Chief Operating Officer, second in command to Susan. They want you. Michael's stomach dropped. What? You'd oversee all operations, manufacturing, logistics, everything. Report directly to Susan. Basically, run the day-to-day while she focuses on strategy. Gregory, that's your job. No, that's the job I want to retire from. I'm 62, Michael. I've been doing this for 40 years. I'm tired, and you're better at it than I ever was. I can't. Before you say no, hear the offer. $300,000 base salary, stock options, full executive benefits. You'd be set for life. Emily would be set for life. Michael sat down. $300,000. He could pay off every debt, buy a house, put Emily through college twice over, everything he'd ever wanted. When do they need an answer? End of the week. After Gregory left, Michael stared at his desk. COO of Orion Motors. 2 months ago, he was unemployed. Now he was being offered the second most powerful position in the company. His phone rang. Emily's school. Mr. Turner, this is Principal Hayes. I wanted to let you know Emily won the science fair. Her volcano project was incredible. She's very proud. That's amazing. Thank you for telling me. There's a small ceremony on Friday at 2 p.m. if you can make it. The kids would love to have their parents there. Michael checked his calendar. Friday at 2 was the board meeting where he'd give his answer about the COO position. I'll be there, he said. Wonderful. Emily will be thrilled. Michael hung up and made a decision. He called Susan. Can we talk not at the office? Somewhere private. When? Tonight. After Emily goes to bed. They met at a coffee shop. Quiet, nearly empty. Susan ordered tea. Michael got coffee he didn't drink. What's wrong? Susan asked. Gregory offered me COO. I know, I approved it. Susan, I can't take it. Her face fell. Why not? Because that job means more travel, more time away from Emily, more boardrooms and strategy sessions and politics, and I didn't leave the garage to become someone I don't recognize. You'd be incredible at it. Maybe, but I'd also be miserable, and I'd make Emily miserable. She already barely sees me. If I take this job, it gets worse. Susan was quiet. So what do you want? I want to build something with my hands, something real, something that helps people like me. Single parents who are struggling, kids who want to learn a trade but can't afford it. I want to open a garage, Susan, a real one, where we fix cars and we train mechanics and we do it right, not for profit, for people. Turner's Garage. Yeah, built on trust. Just like you said that first day, you fix more than engines. You fix people. That's what I want to do. Susan's eyes were wet. That's beautiful. It's also expensive and risky and probably stupid. It's not stupid. It's the best idea I have heard in years. She reached across the table, took his hand. Let me help. Let me invest. Not as your boss, as your partner. Susan, I can't ask you to. You're not asking. I'm offering. We build this together. You run it, I fund it. We make it something special. Why would you do that? Because watching you talk about it, your whole face lights up. And I want to be part of something that makes people light up like that. I've spent 20 years building a company that makes cars. Let me spend the next 20 building something that makes a difference. Michael squeezed her hand. You're serious. Completely serious. We find a location. We hire staff. We create training programs. We make this the best damn garage in the state. Maybe the country. What do you say? I say yes, but on one condition. What's that? You come to Emily's science fair on Friday, 2 p.m. She'd love to have you there. Susan smiled. I wouldn't miss it. On Friday, Michael walked into Emily's school auditorium. Susan was already there, sitting in the third row, saving him a seat. You came. I said I would. Emily's volcano was on display with a blue ribbon. When they called her name, she walked on stage beaming. Michael's chest felt like it might explode with pride. My project is about how volcanoes work, Emily said into the microphone, but it's also about how sometimes pressure builds up and has to go somewhere, like when you're sad or scared and you try to hold it in, but eventually you explode. My dad taught me that. He said it's okay to let things out. That's what makes you strong, not weak. So this volcano is dedicated to my dad, who's the strongest person I know, even when he's scared. Michael's eyes burned. Beside him, Susan's hand found his. When the ceremony ended, Emily ran over. Did you see I won? I saw. I'm so proud of you. Miss Susan came too. I noticed. That was pretty special of her. Emily hugged them both. This is the best day ever. Walking out to the parking lot, Emily ran ahead. Susan and Michael hung back. You know what she said up there, Susan said, about pressure and letting things out. She's talking about you. I know. Are you okay? Yeah, I think I am. Michael looked at her. Actually, I know I am. For the first time in a long time, I know exactly where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do. And it's not in a boardroom. It's here with her, building something that matters. And the COO position, I'm turning it down Monday morning. Gregory will understand. He will, and so will the board, eventually. And you, Susan smiled, I already understand. That's why I'm helping you build the garage. Over the next 3 months, they found the perfect location. An old warehouse on the edge of town big enough for 12 bays and a classroom. Susan bought it outright. Michael designed the layout, planned the workflow, ordered equipment. Emily helped pick paint colors. Blue, like the sky, so people feel happy when they come here. Blue it is. They hired staff. Rick from the Louisville plant wanted in, said he was tired of corporate life. Linda Chen signed on part-time to teach engineering fundamentals. Even Marcus asked if they needed security. What we need is a good front desk person, Michael said. Someone friendly, organized, capable of handling difficult customers. Marcus grinned. I can do friendly. Opening day was April 15th. They'd invited everyone. Former colleagues from Orion, Emily's school, Mrs. Chen. Local news showed up because Susan Wright investing in a small business garage was apparently newsworthy. Michael stood in the middle of the shop looking around. The blue walls, the pristine equipment, the sign above the door, Turner's Garage, built on trust. Susan appeared beside him. You did it. We did it. No, this was your dream. I just helped make it possible. It wouldn't exist without you. Maybe, but it wouldn't mean anything without you. She looked at him. Can I tell you something? Always. When I met you on that roadside, I was at my lowest point. I'd lost faith in everything, people, purpose, the idea that good still existed in the world. And then you stopped, you helped, you asked for nothing. And it reminded me why I started Orion in the first place. Not to make money, to make a difference. I'd forgotten that somewhere along the way. You helped me remember. Susan, I'm not done. These past few months watching you build this place, watching you with Emily, watching you choose family over ambition. You've shown me what really matters. And I want that. I want what you have, not the garage, the purpose, the connection, the love. Michael's heart was pounding. What are you saying? I'm saying I don't want to just be your business partner. I want to be part of your life, part of Emily's life, if you'll have me. Susan, I'm a mechanic with a 7-year-old daughter and a garage that might fail in 6 months. You're a billionaire CEO. This doesn't make sense. Nothing about us has ever made sense, but it works anyway, doesn't it? Emily appeared between them. Are you guys gonna kiss now? Because if you are, I should probably look away. But also, I kind of want to watch, because this is very exciting. Michael laughed. Daddy, just kiss her already. She's been waiting forever. Susan looked at Michael. She's very bossy. She gets that from me. I know. Michael leaned in. Susan met him halfway. The kiss was soft, gentle, perfect. Emily cheered. Finally, okay now, can we cut the ribbon? People are waiting. The three of them walked to the entrance. Michael held the giant scissors. Susan stood on one side, Emily on the other. Ready, he asked. Ready, they said together. He cut the ribbon. The crowd applauded. People streamed inside. The first customer was already waiting an old pickup that needed a transmission. Michael rolled up his sleeves. Let's get to work. As he slid under the truck, he heard Emily talking to Susan. So when you marry my dad, can I call you Mom? Or is that weird? Emily, Michael called from under the truck. What, I'm just planning ahead. Susan laughed. How about we start with Susan and see where it goes? Okay, but I'm going to be a flower girl at your wedding. I've already decided. Deal. Michael finished the transmission in 3 hours. The customer was thrilled, paid in cash, left a 5-star review on Google before he even left the parking lot. By closing time, they'd serviced 8 vehicles and enrolled 3 students in their training program. Rick high-fived everyone. Linda was already planning the curriculum for next semester. Marcus had somehow charmed every customer who walked through the door. Michael locked up at 8 p.m. Susan and Emily waited outside. First day success, Susan asked. First day success. They walked to the parking lot together. Emily held both their hands swinging between them. Daddy, yeah, baby. I'm glad we stopped for Miss Susan that day, even though it was scary for a while. Me too, me too. And I'm glad you didn't take the other job. I like you better when you're covered in grease. Michael laughed. Thanks, I think. That night after Emily fell asleep, Michael and Susan sat on his apartment steps. Not the penthouse, not anywhere fancy, just concrete steps and streetlights. You know what's funny, Susan said. What? I spent my whole life chasing success, building the company, making the right deals, climbing the ladder, and I thought that's what would make me happy. But this, she gestured around, sitting on steps outside a regular apartment with a guy who smells like motor oil. This is the happiest I've been in 20 years. I smell like motor oil. You absolutely smell like motor oil. Sorry. Don't be. It's perfect. She leaned against him. You're perfect. I'm really not. Maybe not, but you're perfect for me. Michael kissed the top of her head. Yeah, I think you might be perfect for me too. Inside, Emily called out, Daddy, I had a bad dream. Michael stood up. Duty calls. Go, I'll see you tomorrow. Susan. Yeah. Thank you for everything, for believing in me, for helping me build this, for being here. Thank you for stopping on Route 47. Best breakdown I ever had. Michael went inside, checked on Emily, tucked her back in. As he turned off her light, she whispered, Daddy, are you happy now? He thought about the question, really thought about it. The garage, Susan, Emily safe and healthy and thriving. A life built on trust instead of fear. Yeah, baby, I think I am. Good, you deserve to be happy. So do you. I know, and I am. We both are, finally. Michael closed her door and stood in the hallway. In the kitchen, his phone buzzed. A text from Susan. Sweet dreams, mechanic. See you tomorrow at the garage. Our garage. He texted back, "Sweet dreams, CEO. Thanks for taking a chance on a guy with zip ties. Best investment I ever made." Michael smiled, put his phone away, and went to bed. For the first time in 2 years, he fell asleep without checking the locks. 3 times. Without worrying about tomorrow, without feeling like everything was about to fall apart. Because for the first time in 2 years, he wasn't just surviving, he was living, and that made all the difference. 6 months later, Turner's Garage had a waiting list. Word spread fast when you treated people right and fixed things properly the first time. Michael had to hire 2 more mechanics just to keep up with demand. The training program had 15 students now, kids from rough neighborhoods who needed a shot at something better. Emily started 3rd grade that fall. She wore her assistant mechanic badge to school on career day and gave a presentation about how her dad fixed broken things and broken people. Her teacher called it the best presentation she'd seen in 20 years of teaching. Susan spent 3 days a week at the garage now, not as CEO, just as Susan. She learned how to change oil, rotate tires, diagnose engine problems. Rick taught her everything, patient as a saint. "You're getting good at this," Rick said one afternoon watching her torque lug nuts on a Honda Civic. "Don't sound so surprised." "I'm not surprised, just impressed. Most executives wouldn't get their hands dirty like this." "Most executives are missing out." Michael walked over, wiping grease off his hands. "Susan, you've got a call. Says it's urgent." She took the phone. "Susan, right. Yes, what? When? I'll be there in 30 minutes. She hung up, her face pale. "What's wrong?" "The board. They're calling an emergency meeting, something about Orion's quarterly earnings." "Go. We've got things covered here." Susan grabbed her jacket, then stopped. "Michael, if this goes badly, it won't. But if it does, then we deal with it. Together. That's what we do now, remember." She kissed him quickly. "I'll call you later." After she left, Emily appeared from the classroom where Linda had been teaching her fractions. "Where'd Miss Susan go?" "Work emergency." "Is she gonna be okay?" "I hope so, baby." But 3 hours later, Susan still hadn't called. Michael tried her cell, straight to voicemail. He tried her office. Assistant said she was in meetings, couldn't be disturbed. At 6 p.m., Michael closed up the garage, drove Emily home, made dinner, helped with homework, put her to bed. Still nothing from Susan. At 10 p.m., his phone finally rang. "Susan, thank God, what happened?" "The board voted me out." Michael's stomach dropped. "What hostile takeover, led by some of Tom's old allies. They've been planning this for months, buying up shares, building coalitions. Today they had enough votes. I'm out, Michael. Orion's gone." "Where are you?" "My car. In your parking lot, actually. I didn't know where else to go." "Come up. Doors unlocked." 2 minutes later, Susan walked in. She looked destroyed, makeup smudged, eyes red, hair disheveled. Michael had never seen her like this. "I lost everything," she said. "The company, my reputation, 20 years of work, gone." "Susan, they're calling it a performance issue, saying I've been distracted, neglecting my duties. They're using the garage against me, saying I've been playing mechanic instead of running the company." "That's bullshit." "Is it? Maybe they're right. Maybe I have been distracted. Maybe I should have seen this coming." Michael pulled her into a hug. She collapsed against him, finally letting herself cry. "It's okay. Let it out." "It's not okay. Nothing's okay. I built that company from nothing. It was my whole life, and they took it, just took it. Then we build something new, something they can't take. Michael, I don't know if I have the energy to build anything else." "Then borrow mine. You did it for me. Let me do it for you." They sat on the couch. Susan curled against him. Eventually, she fell asleep. Michael stayed awake, holding her, thinking about Route 47 and broken down Bentleys, and how sometimes the worst days lead to the best things. Around 2 a.m., Emily padded out of her room. "Daddy, is Miss Susan okay?" "She's had a rough day, baby." Emily climbed onto the couch, snuggled against Susan's other side. "We should make her breakfast tomorrow. with the fancy triangle toast. That always makes me feel better. That's a great idea. And we should tell her it's okay to be sad, like you told me when Mommy died. Michael kissed the top of Emily's head. You're pretty smart, you know that. I know, I get it from you. Morning came. Susan woke up to the smell of coffee and bacon. Emily was in the kitchen carefully arranging toast into triangles. Good morning, Miss Susan. We made you breakfast. Susan's eyes filled with tears. You guys didn't have to. Yes, we did, Emily said firmly. Because you're sad and sad people need triangle toast. That's science. They ate together. Susan picked at her food at first, then actually started eating. Color returned to her face. I'm sorry I fell apart last night, she said. Don't apologize, Michael said. You're allowed to fall apart. That's what people who love you are for, to catch you. Susan looked at him. Love me. Yeah, I love you. Should have said it sooner, but I'm saying it now. I love you, Susan, right? CEO or not, with Orion or without it. Doesn't matter to me. Emily bounced in her seat. I love you too. Can I say that? Is that allowed? Susan laughed through her tears. Yeah, sweetheart, that's allowed. And I love both of you so much it's kind of terrifying. Love is supposed to be scary, Emily said wisely. That's how you know it's real. Where'd you learn that? I don't know. I think I made it up, but it sounds right. After breakfast, Michael made a decision. Susan, come to the garage with me today. Michael, I look like a disaster. So come anyway. Get your hands dirty. Fix something. That always helps me think. At the garage, Rick took one look at Susan and handed her a wrench. Transmission rebuild on the Ford. Could use your help. Rick, I just lost my company. And that sucks, but this transmission still needs fixing. You in or out? Susan took the wrench. In. They worked side by side for hours. Susan's brain slowly quieted. The familiar rhythm of disassembly and repair took over. By lunchtime, she felt almost human again. Linda came over during break. I heard what happened. The board's making a mistake. Maybe, or maybe they're right. Maybe I wasn't focused enough. Bull, you were focused on the right things. They're focused on profit margins and quarterly reports. You were focused on people. That's why this place works. That's why we're all here. Marcus brought over sandwiches. Turner's Garage wouldn't exist without you. None of us would be here. That's worth more than any corporate title. Susan looked around at the team, at the garage they'd built together, at the students learning trades that would change their lives, at Michael covered in grease smiling at her from across the shop. You know what, she said. You're right. Screw the board. Screw Orion. I've got something better now. What's that? Linda asked. Family. Over the next few weeks, Susan threw herself into the garage. She worked alongside the mechanics, taught business classes to the students, even helped Marcus manage the front desk when things got busy. Without the pressure of running Orion, she relaxed, laughed more, smiled easier. Michael watched her transform from stressed CEO to happy human being. And watching her, he realized something. He was going to marry this woman. Probably should have realized it sooner, but he'd always been a little slow on the uptake. The question was when and how. Emily would have opinions, strong opinions. He didn't have to wait long to find out. One night after closing, Emily cornered him in the garage office. Daddy, we need to talk. That sounds serious. It is serious. When are you going to ask Miss Susan to marry you? Michael nearly choked. What makes you think, Daddy, please, I'm 8 now, I notice things. You look at her like Mommy's romance books describe, all gooey and happy. So when are you asking? I don't know, I haven't thought about it. Well, start thinking about it, because she's not going to wait forever, and I really want her to be my new mom. It's more complicated than that. Why, you love her, she loves you, I love both of you. She's already here all the time anyway, might as well make it official. You really want this? Duh, Miss Susan's the best. She's smart and funny, and she doesn't treat me like a baby. Plus she makes you smile the way you used to smile at Mommy. I like when you smile like that. Michael pulled Emily into a hug. When'd you get so wise? I told you, I'm 8 now, I know everything. Clearly. 2 weeks later, Michael had a plan. He enlisted Rick, Linda, and Marcus, even got Mrs. Chen involved. Emily was the ringleader, of course. Nothing got past that kid. He took Susan back to Route 47, same spot where they'd met. Rented a Bentley for the occasion. Why are we here? Susan asked. Because this is where it started. Seemed like a good place for the next chapter. He pulled over at the exact spot where her car had broken down. Got out, helped her out. Michael, what's going on? 7 months ago I stopped here, changed my life, changed Emily's life, changed yours, I think. And I've been wondering something ever since. What's that? What would have happened if I hadn't stopped? If I'd just driven past, I think about it sometimes. How different everything would be. But you did stop. I did, and I'm really glad. Because stopping led to you, led to the garage, led to us. And I don't want to imagine a version of my life where that didn't happen. Susan's eyes started to water. Michael. He got down on one knee, pulled out a ring. Simple, practical, perfect. Susan Wright, will you marry me? Will you be Emily's mom? Will you help me build a life that's about more than just surviving? Susan started crying. Yes, God, yes, of course, yes. He slid the ring on her finger, stood up, kissed her. And from the tree line, Emily burst out cheering, followed by the entire garage crew. Finally, I thought he'd never ask. Susan laughed. You all knew. We all helped plan it, Rick said. Kid's idea, mostly. Emily ran over. So can I be the flower girl now? Yes, sweetheart, you can be the flower girl. And can I call you Mom? Susan knelt down. I'd be honored if you called me Mom. Emily threw her arms around Susan. This is the best day ever. The wedding was small, just family and the garage crew. They held it at Turner's garage because, why not? That's where their real life was anyway. Emily wore a blue dress to match the garage walls, walked down the aisle throwing flower petals with more enthusiasm than accuracy. Susan wore something simple, beautiful. Michael wore the suit he'd worn to his interview, properly cleaned this time. Mrs. Chen cried through the whole ceremony. Marcus gave Susan away since her parents were gone. Rick was Michael's best man. Linda caught the bouquet and promptly handed it to one of the training students. The vows were short, honest.